and her voice unlocked our neighbor's door. The first time the door said her name, I thought I'd imagined it. Our building had installed a new hands-free entry system, the kind of shiny convenience that makes old locks feel medieval. You say your name, the sensor blinks, the latch clicks. The lobby started sounding like a roll call for the fashionable and late. I was carrying groceries, keys in my teeth, when apartment 7B's panel woke up and purred, "Welcome back, Myra." It was my wife's name, wrapped in the polite intimacy our intercom reserves for owners. The door to 7B flashed green and opened an inch, then closed again, as if the apartment itself were winking at me. I stood there, oranges sweating through the paper. Our place is 9A. 7B belongs to a new tenant, someone who pays for deliveries containing heavy books and light furniture. We had met once in the elevator. Tall, a gentle arrogance to his posture, hands with the clean dents of a man who touches precise things. He said he was a sound designer. Later I saw a plaque go up beside his door, Studio KAVAL, professional listening. "Welcome back, Myra," the panel repeated to the empty hall, and I felt something primitive try on my face. At home, I set the groceries down and stared at our own panel as if it might confess. It said, "Hello, Alex," in the neutral way it always has, like a receptionist paid to remember. Myra texted a photo of dumplings at the market. "Dinner," she wrote. I typed, "Door says you've been cheating on it with 7B, then erased it and sent a heart and the word craving. We had entered that season where our calendar looked healthy and our nights looked staged. Myra runs launch events for brands that describe fabric like philosophy. My job, logistics for a chain that wants to be European when it grows up, turns me into a human promise. Everything will arrive, nothing will spill. We are good at this kind of usefulness. Heat, on the other hand, had downgraded itself to a weekend setting. At 7:14, our door said, "Welcome home, Myra," and the way it pronounced home made me want to apologize to the hallway for being obvious. She came in carrying cilantro like a bouquet. She kissed me the way you kiss a person you love but are late to the next thing with. I tried very hard not to listen past her shoulder to the building like it was gossiping. Over dinner, I said, "They enrolled voices for 7B already. The system is fast." I watched her face the way you watch the sea for a shape you're half sure is a fin. She twirled noodles around her fork with the grace of a person who can break up a fight with parsley. "He probably hired someone," she said. "These sound people always have a friend who knows a guy. It's a new wave of laziness. Luxurious laziness." At bedtime, I lay there in the dark counting the soundproofing between us and 7B as if my bones could do math. Myra slept on her stomach, one leg hiked, the way she does when the day has succeeded in outsmarting her. I could have woken her to say, "Why does that door know your name?" Instead, I woke at 4 and stood on our balcony, watching the city starch itself for morning. The next day, I did nothing heroic. I took a picture of the panel beside 7B's door. I checked the building newsletter and found the line about voice enrollment available with proof of residence. Out of politeness, I forwarded the newsletter to Myra like I always do, with the subject, "Our building is learning to talk." She hearted it and sent a sticker of a door with confetti. At lunch, I walked past 7B again like a man trying to remember how to walk. The panel blinked awake, listened, and did nothing. I whispered, "Myra," nothing. Whispered, "Alex," nothing. Then, because I've worked around machines long enough to know they sometimes want to be seduced with context, I stepped closer and said, "Delivery for Myra," the way couriers say it when they perform benevolence into cameras. "Welcome back, Myra," the panel said and opened. The latch gave me 1 inch of someone else's life and then took it back. For 3 days, I audited my house like a soft crime. I noticed the way Myra's hairpins made their own small map on the bathroom counter. I noticed her perfume had shifted from jasmine to something darker, less floral, more decision. I noticed she did not choose the route that passes the 7-story mural we always admired. She chose the block with the alley to 7B's back stairs. I noticed I was noticing and hated it. On Thursday, I stopped pretending. I left a note on 7B's panel. Your door knows my wife. Polite paper. Calm handwriting. A line break where a threat might go if I were less ashamed. I tucked the note into the oak frame and went to work. He texted me an hour later. The number was unsaved but presented itself without fear. It knows her because I enrolled her voice. The message read, I am sorry. Please meet me at the roof greenhouse at 6. It's better if I'm the one who tells you. The greenhouse is an amenity some developer used to justify a line item. Residents drink there at sunset and pretend plants understand marriage. At 6, the city was a bruise turning beautiful. He stood among the vines with his hands in his pockets like he had apologized to them already. Roman, he said, offering a name and not a hand. I heard your note. I'm Alex, I said, because names still matter even when you've decided to hate them. He nodded to a bench. I design acoustic spaces, he said. The studio next door is mine. She came because she needed quiet loud enough to hear herself. She has been building events in rooms that lie. My rooms lie less. She enrolled her voice in your lock, I said, and heard in my own sentence how I had chosen the most humiliating detail to hold on to. Because she was tired of knocking, he said. She was tired of being granted entry by an operator whose default is later. She wanted to step into another version of herself without applying. And is that version, I said, taking care with the words, someone who opens your bed? He didn't wince, which made me want to wince for him. Twice, he said. The first time because we were brave in the wrong place. The second because we needed proof the first wasn't a trick. Sunset has no interest in your self-respect. It performed anyway. I thought of all the ways people are discovered. I have always preferred the honest ones. I looked at the city through a leaf and said the only thing I could say without breaking something that still had value. Thank you for not pretending. He exhaled. She called me exceptional, he said. She meant the exception. We didn't plan anything permanent. Your note made me understand I had enrolled myself in a life that wasn't mine. What do you want? I asked. He looked at the glass. It looked back unhelpful. To stop being the weather, he said. To stop training my work on other people's houses. He left with a small nod, like a musician leaving the stage after one song he shouldn't have played. I sat there until the greenhouse lights ruined the view, and then I went home to cook something that could survive being burned. Myra arrived with wind in her hair and a face that had chosen to be brave. She hung her coat and turned to me the way you turn to an officer at the border. You left a note, she said. I left a note, I admitted. Roman told me, she said. She crossed the kitchen and leaned her hips against the counter, claiming a courtroom we both owned. He also told me he is stepping back, she said, which is gallant and late. You enrolled your voice, I said, holding the least complex sentence I had left. I wanted a door to open when I said my name, she answered. I was tired of being correct all the time, Alex. I wanted to be vivid. And me? I asked. Her eyes softened. You are solid, she said. Sometimes I confuse solid for silence. I'd like to tell you I made a speech that saved us. I didn't. I said 30 days, because that's as far as my courage has ever learned to read. 30 days where we make our house vivid. 30 days where you don't have to go to a stranger's studio to feel like a person with volume. I swallowed. If at the end you still need your name to open his door, I will press the elevator for you. But I won't pretend our door wasn't listening. She stepped forward. Her hand found my jaw the way it does when she wants to measure whether I can survive what she's about to say. "And what do you put on the table?" she asked. "I stopped shipping myself to you on a schedule," I said. "I stopped treating desire like a fragile object. I say now while now still means heat." Her eyes glossed in the way water makes stones look like themselves. "Do you want me now?" she asked. "Not a test, an audit." "Yes," I said, and the word was a decision, not a permission. We didn't stage a scene for anyone. We moved through our apartment revising habits like sentences that had been correct and dull. The erotic lives under the ordinary if you stop balancing your checkbook long enough to let it. We kissed with intent, not with the carefulness we had mistaken for tenderness. She laughed once, that low sound she makes when a good kind of trouble finds her mouth, and I thought, I will build a place where that sound lives. In the morning, she made coffee and typed a message to Roman that I will never ask to see. She blocked the studio intercom from her phone. Together, we called the building manager and removed her voice from 7B's access list. When the panel asked why, I considered telling the machine that sometimes doors know too much. Instead, I pressed duplicate at resident's request and felt petty and redeemed. We didn't become saints. We scheduled our 30 days like athletes and failed at 3 of them spectacularly. We invented a ritual. Whenever one of us said louder, it meant say the embarrassing version of the truth. The first time she said it, she was folding towels. "Louder," I said. She turned, eyes quick. "I want your hand on my back when I cook," she said. "I want to feel wanted when I'm doing small things, not just in rooms with curtains." I stopped pretending to stir and put my hand there. The smallness of it nearly sank me with relief. On the second Wednesday, we returned the favor our building had paid our door. We taught it a new phrase. Now when we come home, it doesn't say "Welcome home, Myra," or "Hello, Alex." It says "Welcome back, you too," and it is almost tacky and it is absolutely ours. A week into our treaty, we saw Roman in the elevator. He stepped in, nodded, and stayed in his corner with the grace of someone who has learned the difference between intimacy and proximity. I thanked him for the greenhouse. He said, "You didn't owe me the note. You wrote it anyway. I corrected my role." He looked at Myra without stealing a single atom of her and said, "I like the way you entered a room. I like more the way you leave it." When the elevator stopped at 7, he exited and didn't look back. That night we cooked badly and ate well. The next morning, Myra sent me a selfie from our hallway, hair wild, eyes bright, shirt half-buttoned. The caption said nothing except my name, which is a sentence if you use it right. I sent back a picture of my palm and the text, "Now." She replied with a calendar invite titled Lunch Kitchen, which is to say we were finally learning to put heat where the schedule lives. The door still throws my heart against my ribs sometimes when it says our names. I still listen for 7B, though it has been quiet in the way good lessons are. Our house looks like 2 people have been living in it and not performing life around it. There are fingerprints on the refrigerator that will never wash out completely, and I do not care. Last weekend, the building sent a survey. Rate your satisfaction with the new voice entry system. I checked, very satisfied with a pettiness I shouldn't enjoy. In the comment box I wrote, "Doors should answer to whoever actually lives here." It felt like offering a proverb to a machine. It felt like saying yes to a version of us that doesn't require forgiveness as a daily vitamin. We passed 30 days without needing to count down. On the 31st, we didn't mark it with candles or a room somewhere pretending to be better than this one. I found her at the window with her hair still damp from a shower, the city throwing coins of light against the glass. I walked up and wrapped my arms around her from behind. She leaned back into me without bargaining. "Say my name," she said very softly, a line we hadn't written yet. "Myra," I said into the warm place where her neck changes its mind about being the neck. The word opened something. The apartment said nothing. It didn't need to. The door stayed closed because we were already inside. Sometimes late, I walk past 7B and the panel wakes up. It listens and finds nothing to unlock. I don't test it. I go back upstairs to the door that knows both our voices and waits until we use them. When it says, "Welcome back, you too," it's kitsch, it's corny, it's a tiny choir. It's also the sound of us deciding to live where we say we do.